We are here. We are live. We are live. Hal Sparks, and we have our now.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Hal.
I feel like I'm in a cookbook.
We're jamming in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's right. Welcome
We are here.
to the hot spot. That's right.
Awesome. Real men make quiche.
That's true. Real men know all kinds of things about eggs. Know your huevos is my motto. And men, if you don't know your huevos, you're in big trouble. Yes, don't dangle your huevos just anywhere. No, you know how to keep them solid if they're hard-boiled, soft-boiled if they're not, and you know how to quiche them up. And if you can't make an omelet, I don't know why I'm talking to you. I mean, how are you going to impress her the next morning if you can't omelet? You know what I'm saying?
Well, but we're quicheing.
You're quicheing? That doesn't sound appetizing at all. That sounds like an accident in a movie theater.
Yes.
Never.
Yes. I was waiting tables. That's what somebody called it one time. I'll have the quiche.
I'll have the quiche. Yeah, it's like somebody who says quesadilla. My dad at one point was interviewing a dude for a job at his architectural firm, and he takes guys to lunch and kind of gets to he's got to deal with these guys over time, right? And this guy was really solid, and then he ordered the quesadilla, and I was sitting there with my dad, and I'm like, no. Bless his heart. I mean, it was in Kentucky, so that might have been the law down there. Hey, man, we're going to fine you $50 if you pronounce quesadilla properly. There is
you got peeps watching. We got peeps watching us today. They're saying hi. Wow, they're saying hi so fast I can't keep up.
I understand that. Hi, peeps. Hello.
But we're glad you're all here. Thanks.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's one of the key things about cooking is take your ring off and put it in your ring pocket, which is what the little thing for you guys is. Yeah.
Anyone who watches me knows I kind of make pasta with my jewelry on.
He does.
Well, pasta fajoule, as they call it. The coroner should always be able to tell what you were cooking the night before when they find your body. I think always a little bit in the nails, maybe some in the hair. Perhaps, you don't want to have to dig in your molars to figure out what you had for dinner. They just want to look at the ring.
Under the nails.
Oh, ravioli. Right.
Ravioli.
Right. So this is we're going to make a couple of things. I suppose we should sort of get at it. Some of these things take a while.
What kind of quiche are you making, Hal?
You know what I mean. Hold on. Let me set this up. This is what you would call a crust that I'm doing. This little pie crust.
Did you make it?
I mixed it, flattened it, and rolled it out. It is not a from scratch, but it is a mixture rolled out. Okay. There you go. So
that's legit.
And hey, good to see you. Can't Stop Lying, and a couple other folks are jumping in there with us. Bless you.
Yeah.
They're coming over from the Infotainment Wars stream that I had to jump off early so I could come over and cook with you guys.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So
yes, Hal did play a character called Donald Davenport.
It's true. Absolutely. There's going to be a bunch of that.
We have a friend actually named Donald Davenport.
Really?
Yes.
Asked that question.
Was it Donald?
It was Donald who asked you that question.
Donald asked me that question.
Is he this smart and good looking? That must be rough. How does he live up to the standard I've set? Not only me, but Fred Gwynn. You know that's Fred Gwynn and I. The one thing that Fred Gwynn, Herman Munster, and I shared, besides obviously height, is the fact that we both played a character named Donald Davenport. Let me put this in here for a split second. Yeah. Did you? If anybody ever watched Secret of My Success, the Michael J. Fox movie with Helen Slater, cast by her mother? How did she ever get the role? And she's terrific. She and Christian are fantastically talented. I do that thing where, as a guy, I forget and leave a thing in, and I heat up the oven, and there's a hot pan in there. You know that one?
I do that all the
Nobody
time.
does that.
I'm
Just
so
me.
bad. I constantly do that.
Yes,
Stay there.
I
All right.
know.
So, some people will tell you that when you make a quiche or any kind of savory pie, anything warm, is you want to pre-bake the crust a little bit because it can be a little soggy in the bottom. So what I do is I don't do a full pre-bake
Doing it.
because that's insane. Because you need that to do that fully. You need one of those little crust covers, which is so and it's like unless you've got one woven by an Amish woman, it's going to be plastic or silicone or whatever. And I'm like, that doesn't seem right to me.
Okay, you want to know a trick? You could put.
Boy, do I.
Yes, you could put a piece of tinfoil in there and put rice or beans in it.
Oh, to weigh it down?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, the pie weights, right. People do that with marbles and end up with hot marbles all over your kitchen.
No,
I don't understand at all. All right. So the primary thing with a quiche is, and me learning how to do a quiche stemmed from a very specific thing. One is, I grew up in the 80s when the book Real Men Eat Quiche came out, if you'll recall. Big yuppie dish.
Yes.
But also, I grew up, my dad and our family, we lived primitive 3 times a year at Friendship, Indiana. We would shoot muskets. I'm a member of the National Muzzleloading Rifle Association. I have been since I was 8 years old. My first rifle was a flintlock. My family have traditional buckskins that have been passed down through our family for multiple generations that we wear when we camp in a teepee. I'm not kidding. It's not a joke. And so we make kettle cakes and all kinds of stuff like that, primitive food, just what you can do with basic ingredients. And as the quarantine,
I didn't know where you were going. I didn't know if you were going to
wait, I'm not hearing you. What'd you say?
Caveman, or you were talking Little House on the Prairie.
I'm not hearing her for some reason, so I'm sure it's valid.
Oh no!
Oh yeah.
Oh no!
She said, "For you, Little House on the Prairie."
Yeah, very, very Little House on the Prairie, except without the house. And so, anyways, I literally, it's one of the reasons I don't talk about my family when I do my stand-up is because no one would understand. Usually, when people are like, I'm Italian, people Italian, everybody's like, haha, I know what Italians are like. If I explain my family upbringing, everybody just stares at me like a deer in the street. Just like I don't understand the words and the order they're coming out of your face. So, having grown up with that, and then when quarantine came along, I started looking into base foods that are easy to, staples, that are part of traditional foods that have been around for a long time, that I can start cooking, that are pleasurable, interesting, good flavors. You can put a lot of variety into them, but are something that anybody can make, kind of in the world of how tacos and stuff and a decent sandwich. You have to be able to construct a decent sandwich. But yeah, it's amazing who can't. So I started you know what? I'd like to learn how to make a quiche. I think that'd be a great little addition to those kind of things because ultimately we eat a lot of eggs around here. But I can omelet like a MFer. So I'm like, okay, this will be how I upgrade that level so that even if we're eating the same thing staple-wise, it's more enjoyable, right? Those kind of basic parts, right? And so I'm like, I'm going to up my game in that. So I started looking into a bunch of traditional Scottish dishes, traditional French dishes, stuff that poor people made in the 1700s. And I'm like, I'm pretty certain no matter how bad it gets, I can scrounge up those ingredients and we can be all fancy while the world burns around us. So as a theory, it works very well. So what you're basically making with a quiche, though, essentially is a highfalutin omelet in a crust. So it kind of takes a little bit of there's a little more to it, but not a ton. Yeah. And in the process of making it, if you picture it like a big omelet, it's not as intimidating. It's just like an omelet you bake.
Yeah.
Right. So in doing that, what I will start the process in doing is most people will do a 3-egg quiche because they're fairly dense like this. I like to add 4 eggs just because it's a little more substantial as a foodstuff. Look out. Yeah. I've made a 6-egg quiche. That was a nightmare. It was a big, puffy monstrosity. So I've settled over time on the 4-egg quiche. Now, there's not a ton to this in the beginning, so we'll just keep chatting while I'm doing these kind of things. But
I
you're
don't
gonna
know.
get your 4 eggs.
Can he not
You're
hear
gonna
me?
add your 4 eggs, just like you would
I
do
don't
a
know
bigger omelet.
But I'll repeat. Can you hear Lisa?
Can you
No.
hear me?
I
You
can't hear
cannot
Lisa
hear
for some reason. It's very weird.
Okay, but they can hear you on YouTube, so I will repeat if you have a
All
question.
right.
Yes,
okay.
translate. Be the Lisa translator. Right. I don't know. Where are you, Lisa, with the eggs and the situation? All right, we'll figure it out. I guarantee it will kick in at some point. But
It's been like this. You were having trouble with YouTube earlier, weren't you?
yes, YouTube was being very odd earlier,
Yeah.
but luckily everybody jumped over to Twitch really quick, and that benefited me long term. Now, basically, you're going to be making a cheese omelet with this situation. So it's really to flavor how much you would add to a 4-egg omelet, what, in your mind, what that is. The only difference is you're going to add about 1.5 cups of milk or heavy cream. Now,
Okay.
heavier the cream, the thicker this thing will be. A lighter quiche will have more milk. A more dense, tart-like thing will have more cream, but it will be thicker and richer and whatever. So I say basically cut it 2/3. 2/3 milk, 1/3 cream, whatever your amount is. And it's 1.5 cups for 3 eggs. And I keep it at that with the 4 eggs. So
you've evidently made quite a few quiches to figure this out.
yes, I did. I've tried several. I had 9 failures on almost every dish that I know how to make, almost in a row.
Only 9?
Yeah, only 9. That's right. I learned my lesson after the first 3. 3 rounds of 3 mistakes. That's enough for anybody. So being a Freemason, I have, this is true,
Mason jar!
I have a mason jar that are all mixing cups.
Oh my God!
Oh, yes.
So-
I had that one. I gave it away for Christmas.
I love this thing. I also have
Yeah,
2
cool.
salt shakers that are little mini mason jars. It's a thing. But
These
this is
are
the cup,
people,
and this
Deborah.
is the 1/2 cup underneath it. Right?
Hello, mini mason jar right here.
Love it. Right. So
all the
what we're
same
going to do is we're going to take the 1.5. Da-da-da, da-da-da. We'll set those there.
All right,
We'll check
so-
on something. That's fine. All right. Now I'm
People
not
want to
going.
see what you're doing.
All right. I'm not going to. Unlike normal, I'm not going to leave this in here because I don't want it to jerk out on me. This is coming up the side. I don't have any marbles, so I lost them. I'm sorry.
If I find them, I'll return them.
Yes. Calm that down right there. Cool that out, and then I'll peel that side up on the sides once I'm ready to go. Or I might have to, because I didn't have any of the marbles in there. I'll let this cool in a second, and I'll do it. So, 1.5 cups of whatever. So I'm going to do 1/2 cup of heavy cream,
Okay.
right? And 1 cup of milk. That'll be the mix. So we'll do that.
Now you guys can see what he's doing because he's actually doing something.
Yeah, I'm actually doing something. So
Now he's actually doing something.
right. So I'll pour this in there, which is very pretty when it actually
What
happens.
is there? Do you have a bowl?
Yes, I do. So here's the. This is the bowl.
Oh,
Look at
okay.
Oh, yay.
That's the 4 eggs and the heavy cream, and it kind of sits and is a little bit of an art piece right there. So,
Okay, very lovely.
yeah. Then a single cup of milk. So hold on. Grab a little milk. Now, I have a thing about what milk I drink when I do bother to drink milk. It's not an ad or anything, but the Horizon Organic is who I like, and largely because they have the DHA omega-3 in there and full vitamin D fortified. And currently, considering the respiratory illness that's going around, make sure you're getting your vitamin D, folks. That's all I'm saying.
Good idea.
Even if you find a vegan source to take the pill, I got vitamin D right in that cabinet right there. I'm just saying.
We're all about the organic too.
Right. So we take that. We add this to our bowl. Hurrah! Like that.
Voila.
Hey.
All right. Now that is a cup of milk, 1/2 cup of heavy cream. Now it's 1.5 cups of whatever dairy you want. It has to be dairy. It can't be like silk or anything like that. I mean, we're making eggs, so I'm guessing it's not a vegan issue with most people. But you're gonna do it to taste. It's 1.5 cups of that, 4 eggs.
Okay.
Okay. So then we're going to whisk and mix. We're whisking and we're mixing and we're mixing and we're whisking. Now, I have one of these kind of normal whisks like we
Yep.
have or whatever. But I have to
Yep.
say, my favorite one is this weird Starbucks and
I love
metal
that
end
one.
kind.
That's a frother. That's a
Yeah,
frother.
it's a frother, but it breaks up egg yolks and stirs stuff up a little bit better. And if stuff gets caught against the side of the bowl when you're doing powders and stuff, you can kind of scrape away the sides, unlike these guys, which get gummed up, and it's easier to clean.
Yes,
So,
it is.
If you want
to,
dudes, guys who don't like to cook very much, this is the go-to. Like, that's. I'm just gonna say that's an integral part of it. So, I'm going to break up these kind of things and start whisking and turning all this kind of thing while we're talking. And
while we're hanging out,
honestly, monsters.
you have no apron. Where's
What?
your apron?
Oh,
You've no apron.
excuse you. 1 second. I have no apron. Do I have no apron?
I knew there was an apron.
This is
involved.
the first time anybody's ever seen this. No one has ever seen this before. This was a cast gift.
It's a debut. I got one from when I did Breaking Bad. They gave me an apron.
Well, yeah. Did it have a hazmat suit with it?
No, just the yellow apron.
Right. So, in this, I'm going to stir this all up, and then basically the rest of it is a matter of taste. They'll put in like tablespoon of salt and blah blah blah. I tend to flavor to taste because I have that's a lot of salt. Yeah, it's a table. Yeah, table. I've literally seen it. I'm like, that sounds nuts to me. So
I use a half a cup of salt.
Yeah, exactly. A half a cup. No, a table like it might be a teaspoon of salt. But they'll do kind of like this kind of amount of teaspoon of salt. Okay, it's close. Yeah. So, but I tend to just give it a pass, stir it up, give it a pass, stir it up, give it a pass, stir it up, and that's
he does a swirl.
Okay, see, I'm not so crazy. That's what
swirl,
I do.
Yes.
Measurement.
Right. So
I got cracked for that
and I
last
also
night.
have this thing. So this is where most of my salt comes from. It's a grindery kind of thing. So it's kind of weird when you're cooking with this, but it works because by the time you heat it up, it cooks it out. So, or like that, and then I stir it a little bit, and then do it like 3 or 4 times, and that's about enough of salt for me. So my mom loves salty stuff, so she'll prefer it that way. But on the other hand, I like stuff savory, but she's nuts with it. So, like that, and then.
So, are you telling me did you make this while you were praying?
No, I made this now based on the idea that I'm going to start adding, extra like dishes to the family's routine while we're in quarantine to kind of charm this up. So. And I'm going to sprinkle the top with black pepper of the mixture and then stir that in. And usually that's enough. Then we start adding some cheese. That'll give it some thickness. And then you're going to pour it into the mold. And then it goes into the oven.
In the oven.
Cheese quiche. There's nothing else. Not ham.
Say that again?
Broccoli.
I can't hear her, so you got to translate.
Okay, she's saying you're not putting anything else in there, just cheese?
No, well, I don't like. No, it's not a quiche Lorraine. It's just that kind of base. If I want to, I can add other stuff, but this is a baseline. What I am going to add today that's different is avocado.
Oh, nice.
So So it'll cook kind of underneath it like an omelet. It'll just take longer or whatever. But I'll put a little bit of avocado in there with the cheese. And I can put in some Kalamata olives occasionally. That's also something that works. So again, this is not traditional in any way. These are just the quiches I make. Whatever. I feel like so naked in front of you guys because this is.
These are Hal's quiches.
Yeah, these are mine. This is what and because it's based on like what's worked as far as the omelets I've made in the past and what the dishes savory wise work that way. So today, like I'm on the fence about whether or not I want to show you this other avocado thing I do while that's thrown in there, while it's in the oven. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a kitchen. It's a kitchen. What's this recipe nonsense? So we're turning that in right there. This is all stirred up for the most part.
Someone's saying pinch of this, pinch of that. Yeah, that's true. Oh, look.
How you doing? So yeah. So
how you doing?
So that's a mixture in there. We'll just, just so it breaks up everything and mixes together. This is not one of those situations where you're going to run into. And this is the speed version too, as well. So I got some pre-shredded cheese, but I got something special for this one. Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about avocados is you don't have to put them in.
Right.
Don't feel sad, Aaron. Don't feel sad, Aaron. You don't have to add the avocado.
No, you don't. Absolutely not. These are just little elements or whatever. But I have some crumbled goat cheese that I was going to add to it.
Oh, nice.
As the cheese this time, because sometimes I'll use the easiest one is the the shredded Colby Jack or the shredded Mexican cheese blend. You'll find it in the grocery store already made that way, so it's already shredded. It's already you can add that to omelets and eggs pretty easily, pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. But goat cheese is a little tough because a lot of times it's gummy and you can't cut it and all that stuff. But the crumbled kind, which they mean for like salads and stuff like that, is way easier to add to a mix like this.
Yep.
So you get the salad crumbled goat cheese, and it takes care of that part for you. Huh?
Cool.
What are
I
you doing?
will put in my daily Trader Joe's plug. They do a 4-cheese blend that's excellent.
Yes. That's
Wouldn't
the
that be
same
feta
ballpark.
cheese,
So,
Debrianna? Isn't he talking about feta?
That's basically like 3/4 of a cup, of it. So it's fairly substantial, but I'll just stir that in so it kind of moves around. I don't need to whisk it any, really. But just,
Okay, so are you sure that's goat cheese and not feta?
yes. Specifically, it's not. Yeah, so
Okay, cool.
there you go.
I've never
It even says chèvre on there.
Oh,
look.
okay.
How beautiful.
De rien. Ça va bien, oui, ça va. Je parle français comme une poche espagnol. So, hold on one second.
I think that was Quattro languages.
Hal speaks
I have several. Hold on one second. So talk amongst yourselves real quick.
Okay, here, while y'all are talking amongst yourselves, I will add.
I can't believe he lived on the prairie.
You'll add the what?
You lived on a prairie. I'm scrolling your information across the bottom in case people need it while you have disappeared because we have no camera people.
Understood. Yes, it's just part of the normal part of this, but I want to do something real quick.
Disappeared into thin air, but that's okay. He'll be putting avocado.
Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Wow, smoked goat cheese. I don't think I've ever had that, but I would enjoy that.
What are they suggesting?
Smoked goat cheese.
Smoked goat cheese is a great idea. Also, baked goat cheese in pastry is fantastic. So, don't forget.
He looks like only wearing.
So almost there. 3 seconds away. 1 second. Give me a second.
Okay. I'm sure he'll be back.
I will. Don't worry. I'm just taking my pants off. I'll be right there. It's totally fine.
Nobody wears pants during Corona. We only wear shirts.
That's right. That's right. That's why the apron. So yeah.
We've been known to commit sin with our aprons, both Lisa and
I don't doubt it for a second. So
gym shorts, underwear. Nobody knows.
Nobody knows. Nobody cares. It's just us. We're all learning to share in ways that we just didn't know possible. Okay, so hold on 1 second. We'll move this over here.
Whoa!
I am back. Hold on. I just wanted to push this against the side, and the plate was hot, and I didn't have the necessary tools. And da-da-da-da. Now, I don't know that we'll have time to actually, bake the whole thing because of the time. But you pour that mixture into the crust. Pretty simple process. Just pour it right in. Now, the tough part of a quiche is that it will start, sometimes the top cooks, and it will, depending on your oven, it will puff up, and you have to kind of reach in there and pop it, so that it falls back down and it doesn't, just cook the top and stay liquid underneath. Yeah, and explode, right, yeah.
No raw eggs.
So it just takes some, it just takes some, attention in that regard. So you just want to set an alarm for yourself that reminds you to look at it is the real thing. Because it's a process. It's about a half hour or so, 350. We're talking, depending on your oven, depending on which shelf, depending on how new you are to the idea. It takes some maintenance. You just got to pay attention. Yeah. That's the whole point.
Feel your way through it.
Right. So this is on here. Now, what I will do even though I put the other cheese in the thing, is that at one point I will open it up when it's starting to get hot, and I might sprinkle cheese across the top of it late in the game.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
To have a little fresher melt
That's
on
nice.
top of it. That kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's what the the little bag of shredded would work for. But this one's got a fairly decent amount. It's pretty solid. Again, 4 eggs, 1.5 cups of dairy, however you want to do it. About 3/4 cup of crumbled cheese, what have you, and then, like I said, sprinkled across the top. Salt and pepper, and that's it. It's on a, it's on
Gorgeous.
yeah, right. And then you just
Anybody
bake it.
can make it.
Say again?
Anybody can make it.
Yes. This is not that complicated. Like I said, plan on making 3 of them. Just go, I'm going to make one. I'm going to test it. No, it's okay. What did I get wrong? What can I do better next time? Okay. So we'll put this guy in here. Hold on. And whoa.
Except the guy wearing the lab rat apron.
Yes.
Treat it like a science experiment, people.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So hold on one second.
Eat.
We say that
Yeah,
a lot.
and you have to be aware that it's the process, of learning to cook. I'm curious what you think about this, and you guys have probably dealt with this more than anybody in talking to people and how they cook. But everybody thinks that heat is your friend and time is your enemy. If we just hotter is better and speed it up. Instead of, this takes a while. You know what I mean? That I'm going to forget about how long. I don't know how long to do it. I'm going to do it the wrong amount of time. I'm not going to do it long enough, or I'm going to do it too long. It's going to burn. It's not going to be cooked. Time is the enemy. Whereas heat, hotter is better, right? Hotter's got to be slightly better. And it isn't.
Well, it depends on what you're doing.
Totally. So, like, in this case, hold on. While I heated up the oven at 375 before for something else I was doing, I'm cooling it back down. I'm going to have it at 350 for this. It'll be a little longer, but the inside will be warmer over time. So there you go. So that's the beginning of that.
Just tell Deborah to tell him it's about being present. It's like life.
Now I hear you.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, what'd she say?
She said it's about being present. It's just like life.
Well, I would agree. I would often think that, what were we talking about? I don't remember. Anyways,
I don't know.
something. There was this, what? My mom once said, where are we? And I was like, there's so much to learn from what, I left that on. I don't know what's going on. Yeah. Agreed. That's the whole point of cooking your own food.
They can hear you on YouTube, Lisa. Hal can't hear you, but the people on YouTube can hear you.
They respect you and hear you. I wish I could hear you. I don't know what that's about. It's very curious, but it's there. Yeah. So.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not. Do I have a censor on? Is it because you're swearing so much? What could be the possible reason? Are you too high pitched? Is it a dog whistle kind of a thing?
Well,
I don't know.
You could hear her before, and then all of a sudden you couldn't. I don't know what happened.
No, I could only hear you the whole time that I'm aware of.
Oh.
Yeah.
We probably should work that out.
Oh, no.
Oh, well.
I didn't know that. You didn't know that. Who knew that? So, there's a couple of things while this is baked, because this is going to take time. So we're going to check on this. Hey, Siri, set an alarm for 15 minutes. So.
Well, that's a way of doing it.
Okay, it's on.
My Apple Watch is a cook's best friend. Because everything I'm cooking, I set a little alarm, and it will remind me, and then I go and check. And it does a taptic thing. It like on your wrist, like, hey, go check your thing. So if you're like making a steak or whatever, and sometimes you'll like one of the ways you can make a steak, of course, is put it in the oven at 200 degrees for about, half an hour, something like that. Let it warm up to that point, and then sear it.
Yeah.
I would forget about it, and it would just look like a dog turd by the time. You're just going to shrink down. So this helps. I'm just saying, it's better.
Yeah, no, a timer is your best friend in the kitchen, however you use it. We use timers all the time.
Yeah. So 2 other things. This will be the other thing that we work with. One is, I think the avocado thing I just want to do this way. So over here on the table, we have, the honey is still over here because Summer was making tea for herself. As a reformed vegan, as a former vegan, and somebody who eats plant-based probably 20% of the time, like solidly, and then 80% of the time it's a mix. One of the issues is always getting enough fat in your diet, good fat, right? And I love avocado in general, but
me too.
The two main avocado delivery systems, maybe three. Well, obviously guacamole, I guess, qualifies as one. But as far as whole avocado in my life was on a salad somehow, and then in a grilled cheese sandwich. So a grilled cheese with sliced avocado in it. My old roommate, Matt, used to make those, and I thought it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever seen in my life. Why would you make something lovely like a grilled cheese turn green? Are you insane? And then I had one, and I can't actually have a grilled cheese without avocado in it anymore because it's awesome.
Well, there you go. My husband had one this afternoon.
Yes. Now, technically speaking, it's no longer a grilled cheese. It's an avocado sandwich with cheese because cheese is an accompaniment. Once you're grilling something else involved, the cheese is an additive. I don't care what anybody says. So, anyways, in this, one of the main dishes I make all the time that I came up with on my own was to make sure that I had enough fat in my diet in a proper sense. Let me get a spoon.
Somebody wants to eat it.
One whole avocado, and you just take a knife and you just cube it, cut it across left or up and down like this. So you take this knife, which is one of my favorite knives, and you just kind of lightly. You don't have to cut the skin at all. You barely, because if it's ripe enough, you shouldn't have to do it too hard. And then you just cut it kind of so that it's basically cubed across, right? Then take a spoon and just spoon it out into a bowl like that. The cubes into a bowl.
And out come the cubes.
Yes.
It's so easy.
It's beautiful.
It's amazing.
It's gorgeous. Look at that. Just kind of, they just come right out.
Nice.
Fantastic. And Deborah, don't forget to translate what she's telling you. She's saying stuff.
Yes.
I can see her mouth moving, and I'm interested. So you're going to cube this out. It's just one whole avocado like this, okay? That's what you're doing.
Yes.
Right. Then.
Well, one of the things we always say, that Lisa just reminded me of, is fat carries the flavor.
Yes. Speaking of flavor, this is partly where it comes from. Balsamic vinegar. So take this, a splash of the balsamic vinegar, just coat it a little bit. Not too much because it'll gather in the bottom and you can turn it under there. So lay back a little bit, little Newman's Own, do a little charity work while you're at it. And then our friend salt and pepper, a little bit of salt, like that.
Here we go.
A little bit of pepper to, if you choose, check it like that. And then with your spoon, just turn this. Just rotate it so that the balsamic vinegar that's fallen down on the bottom has just covered that. And that essentially is the entirety of the thing. This is one of the most substantial, just diet meals you can have in a lot of ways, because if you're trying to keep your calories down, but get good fats in your system and you don't want to consume a lot, eating this whole thing like this will fill you up. It'll be ultimately substantial.
And it's delicious.
It's amazing.
Avocados are like the most miracle food on planet Earth. Tell him.
Mm-hmm.
She said they're a miracle food.
Yeah.
Avocado.
Amazing. So, and basically, some days when I was just getting into intermittent fasting, and I was like, I'm starving because my eating window hasn't come up yet, I would have a smaller meal before my big meal of just this. And you're full. You're full for another 3 hours because your body's messing around with this.
I find eggs do that too, though. Eggs definitely fill me up, and they last a long time.
But for our vegetarian and vegan friends who are, rotating their animal proteins in and out, this is a great go-to that's a fill you up as well. And so I would basically just consume this whole thing while I'm here. So.
Wait, I thought we were going to put that in quiche. Well, but you're not putting that in the quiche.
No, I'm not. I'm just eating it. That's why I was, because I looked at it. It was such a good avocado. I was like, I don't want to cook it. It's so good. So I'm just going to eat it.
Why not? Well, while we're here, we're just going to eat it.
Yeah. So here's the other thing I'm just going to eat while we're all here. for the heck of it.
Eating for us on the show.
How much? Well, I eat one meal a day. I only eat once a day.
Oh.
So my dinner, my one meal, is usually enormous.
Now, why do you do that?
Mainly for the benefits of fasting. Fasting for 20 hours or more is fantastic for your system. It helps with your. It keeps your insulin response low. There are all kinds of ancillary benefits to fasting, but the window of fasting, a minimum of 12 to 14 hours a day, is good for you in general. That's when they start kicking in. At 16 hours, you really start to see the kind of anti-aging benefits and all those kind of stuff that science has talked about. And so at 20, most days, 5 days a week, I do OMAD, one meal a day. And then on the weekends, I have regular intermittent fasting window, which is 8 hours. So all my eating happens in 2 8-hour windows on Saturday and Sunday. Wow. So I fit it all in there. And there's tons of science around. I'll be 51 next month. Yeah. And I don't take any testosterone supplements or any of that kind of stuff. Like I haven't had to do that, which is great. And I attribute a lot of how I feel health-wise, which is very good these days, to the fact that I've been doing intermittent fasting for about 6 years now, and I've been doing OMAD for about 2 or maybe a year and a half, solid. So,
wow, that's a long time. And so it's just your lifestyle to do it that way.
Yeah. It's been a thing that like my girlfriend, everybody else in the house has a regular eating window. They just do, right? But I, as weird as I am, however, not necessarily. So let me rotate.
Do you drink? Do you have a certain amount of things that you like? Do you drink a lot of water in the day, or
yes, I drink water with great regularity. But I also I have black coffee in the morning. Usually iced coffee. Not necessarily hot. And I will do, I make sure I get enough water. A lot of times I'll supplement it with BCAAs, but only during my window. So I used to be a little more fast and loose with branched chain amino acids to help maintain muscle mass. There's some thought that you can have those and not mess with your eating window in fasting. I don't buy it. I think you have to be pretty much abstinent from anything that gives you calories or even stuff that has a sweet flavor, because your body will react, especially early on, with an insulin response because it's expecting sugar even if there is none. So you drink a sweet, like a diet drink. Most people, once they shift to OMAD and your body's used to it, if you have that, your body doesn't, my theory is your body doesn't expect the sugar during that time. So even though it's got a sweet taste, it won't kick in. But if you're trying it for the first time, it's best to be a bit of a purist in that regard.
Okay, so what are you doing?
So this is when you only eat one meal a day.
Oh my God!
Oh my God! He's like Rocky Balboa.
She said you're Rocky Balboa.
Mm-hmm.
Holy!
How many eggs?
How many eggs did you just eat?
That was 4. I usually do 6, but we use some of them for the quiche. So, but I'll usually do 6. As an addition to my meal if I don't do a protein shake of some sort. Or I'll add...
Now, why don't you want them to taste good?
Huh?
Are you...
What makes you think they don't...
Why do you just have them raw? Is there a reason? Because they don't taste that good, do they?
Sure, they're fine. They have less of a flavor than people assume, for one. Most people assume there's a sulfuric kind of smell or taste to them because they're raw. There's this idea. If they're rotten or they smell that way, you shouldn't be eating them. They're, especially raw. If they're fresh eggs, they won't have much of a smell, if at all. If they do have any, don't have them, So I did a lot of studying about the value of eggs in the diet and that kind of stuff after a while, and the idea of eating organ meats and the entirety of the animal. If you're going to eat one piece of it, eat the rest of it. Don't waste it, And if you can incorporate that in your diet, there's a reason why it's better for you. So, in terms of eggs, oysters, fish eggs, those kind of things have the entirety of the animal kind of in that, and so separating out part of it, you don't get all the benefits. I know this is weirding everybody out, but this is just the truth. So,
well, there are people saying all kinds of things like that. They think your sperm count is off the charts. I just thought you might want to know that.
I refuse to answer on the grounds that it may incriminate me. But yeah. So the consumption of, like, I read at one point, you know what started the egg thing was I read about this weightlifter diet back in the early days before they had steroids and all that kind of stuff. There was this like 24 egg a day diet this guy was doing. I know, it's insane. Like, I can't imagine. And he would do 24 cooked eggs a day for like, and that's it. That's all the food for like 3 weeks.
No vegetables?
No. And the benefits of it, once the scientists looked at his bloodstream, was that it was the same as doing, in a positive sense, a course of steroids. That ultimately the effect it had on the body was he built so much muscle and retained so little fat, and it boosted, testosterone, it boosted all kinds of elements of just blood stability that were, and there's a reason why they did it. It's just most people don't do it because it's easier to take a shot, and what's grosser than living on eggs for 3 weeks alone. But there were also these old, like, frontier doctors and the like who are, frontier doctors who were like,
prairie.
Yeah, right, on the prairie, absolutely. That's right, in the teepee, that said basically like a course of eggs over time would benefit you health-wise if you had a serious illness, and it was usually raw eggs, and they were fresh from the farm at that point, so the chance of salmonella and all that kind of stuff was less. There's definitely the factor that the only safety mechanism I really do besides washing the shells of the eggs most of the time is I crack them on a different surface. Do not crack the eggs on the glass you're having them from. Crack them on something else because it's the shell that has the salmonella on it. So if that's an issue. So that's one of the things I learned. I've never had an issue, even an upset stomach, since I've done raw eggs. And that's how I do it.
Do you cook them every day?
No, I have them about every other day. Yeah. Not a Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing. I cycle everything mostly out of laziness.
This is like,
Connie, I don't think I want to boost my testosterone either.
Right. What's she saying? What?
Hal Sparks' True Confessions.
Yes, this is Hal Sparks' True Confessions.
Yeah. Well, I don't have any other kinds of confessions. This is just true. Nobody's bothered to ask me. It's not like I have secrets about it. It's just nobody gave a shit until now. All right, so
In on it, people.
And partly, Summer, my girlfriend, is a huge Rocky fan. We both love Rocky.
See?
And so at one point, I thought, well, she'll love this. I'll eat a bunch of raw eggs right in front of her, and it'll be impressive. She'll be like, let's see, like hanging on the door frame,
Impressive. Was it impressive?
What are you saying?
Was she impressed?
Was she surprised? She was disgusted. She can't even look at me when I do it. I was so disappointed. I thought I was impressing her, and I was like, she's gonna love this. She loves Rocky. She loves it, and he just downs them. Right? Oh, there's Siri telling me to take a look at my quiche.
Let's see.
That's looking pretty good.
In his kitchen.
Pretty solid. Now, I want to see. Hold on. Let's take a peek, shall we? Hold on one second. Let me.
Yes, this is live on Facebook.
Yeah,
it is.
We're
live.
Live-ish. Hold on. Let's see if we can get this. That looks like a quiche, right? Does that look like a quiche?
Yeah, that's beautiful.
I'm kidding. This is a peach pie I'm making at the same time.
That looks lovely.
Yeah, I'm just making a peach pie because I was making crust anyways. So why not make a peach pie? So it's still cooking. It's still got a little time, but it looks really good.
Oh, nice.
He likes to do
so
things.
You can't move the quiche around because while it's solidifying, hold on. I'll show you guys what it looks like. 1 second here. I'm going to have to unplug you and move you in. So we'll move in.
Comedians.
Hi, neighbor.
When
so
the
there
kitchen
it is. See the quiche right there?
Cook with us.
The quiche is nice. It's nice and flat and nice and creamy looking, and it's even, and it's starting to bake, and it's just going to take its time. We just let it go, but it's not overheating. So, hey Siri, set an alarm for 10 minutes. So
that's great. So we can have a picture of your peach pie when you're done too.
I beg your pardon. Excuse me. I'm a lady.
We want a picture of your peach.
I'm what?
We don't ask that of everyone.
Oh, up there. Okay. Huh?
This morning, I opened the window.
Oh, oh yeah, we have very sensitive smoke alarms in here. So it's you just open the oven, like the little things that have been on the bottom or whatever, or the heat from it sets it off.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We have ours attached to the smoke alarm. The smoke alarm is attached to calling the fire department.
Yikes.
Yeah, and they're not far from here.
No, well, they now know the
We've
route,
had
don't they?
to tell them, oh, it's just bacon. Don't worry.
Right.
I don't know.
We're doing good. It's it's a nice.
On our show.
What's that?
What'd she say?
Twins, when they get on our show, like to they love to cook and they don't want to stop it. You know what I mean? Like Mike.
You have to translate, Deborah.
Brianna.
So.
People love cooking on our show and they don't want to stop.
Yeah.
Especially comedians.
Yeah.
Especially comedians.
Well, we like comedians have chips on our shoulder that we fit. That ours is the only job in entertainment that's a matter of opinion. That if you're an actor, and you act, and you can be a bad actor, but you're still an actor.
Right.
You can be a singers. You sing. You might be a crappy singer, but you're definitely singing. No one can argue that William Hung is attempting to sing. He's a singer. It might not be good. Guitar players play guitar, but a comedian, if you're not funny, you're not a comedian. You're just a guy talking or a woman talking. You're just, you know what I mean? Until the jokes come, right? Yeah. There's an argument that you don't even have the job while you have it. So, I think we all have a chip on our shoulder to be, that we want to be respected. Not me. But that's because I have other talents, clearly. I mean, thank you.
You're a chef.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you're a chef and we all know it.
Yeah. So that's, so now, and then the nice thing about cooking for real is that we just hang out while that's going on.
Yeah. Well, this is our show. We hang out in the kitchen.
Right.
And watch Hal eat avocados and eggs. Oh my God.
Raw eggs and raw avocado with just
I hope
some vinegar on it.
Goes viral.
Yeah. I know.
So yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's start a hashtag.
But yeah,
This
was the cast and crew gift
20.
Oh, nice.
for Lab Rats for 2012. Sweet.
Very
When
nice.
my son was a year old, my son is the same age as Lab Rats. He was.
Really? I remember when you guys were pregnant.
Yeah. So.
Because from Stephanie Miller, I think, weren't you on that?
No, she's not the mother, but I know that's a common thought.
No, I don't mean she's the mother. She would never be the mother. Oh my God.
Well,
but I think I remember hearing it on the show.
Yes, I think she knew a year after the fact or something like that. But yeah, so. But yeah, so it's one of those things. It's a milestone, kind of an heirloom.
We mark things. Yes, we mark things as actors and comedians.
Yeah,
and chefs.
So I'm so disappointed I can't hear her with you, Debrianna. I know it's so terrible. So
this is just bizarre.
Yeah.
Well,
very strange. I don't know.
Let me see if is there. Okay, I can see this.
Can't be silenced.
Can she read this?
Are you typing?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know.
That allows me to go to the web. Type and write a message. I don't want to do that. Oh, I see.
Bottle.
So what does that allow me to do? I'm pushing all the buttons on here or whatever. Is there filters? Do I get to, can I have some sort of, is there something filthy I can make? That turns my kitchen around. That's the fridge. You don't need to see the fridge. None of this is helping. It keeps flashing that I'm live just in case I don't know. And I can type a message, but I can't read the messages.
Can she read this?
I know he can get the job, but can he do the job? All right.
I can see people talking. I don't know why you can't.
I don't either. Although I
just wrote him.
Being the crazy computer nutcase I am, it wouldn't be that difficult for me to open up your page, go to the live thing.
Oh, look at him go.
And see if it's happening.
I just wrote him.
There you go.
Someone
Just hear myself reading back. So at least I can see the chat room. Bless your hearts. Hi, everybody. And then I can hear her secondarily.
Oh, no.
Then I just pause and play.
Oh, my God.
See?
That works.
That works.
Ultimate coronakitchen.
No, someone's saying raw eggs in a whole avocado. Damn, I wasted 40 grand in culinary school.
Yeah. But I'm telling you, like, if you want to keep your cuts, this is one of the ways to do it. I'm just saying.
Do you
I'm
work out? Do you work?
That's Beachbody.
Ask.
Hashtag Hal sperm count. I'm not sure he'd like that hashtag. I don't know. Do you care about that one?
I don't care about anything.
Corona.
Right. Yeah, it's coronavirus. Like, do you realize the world is in total turmoil? These are like the folks that I'm amazed that trolls still think they have any standing in the world. You know what I mean? Like, really?
Yeah.
You do realize there's like 156,000 people have lost their lives. Their families affected by this all over the place. The economy's lost 30% of its GDP overall. Biggest dip since the Great Depression.
Like
and you think you can insult my career choice and make me upset? You're kidding me, right? Like, really, child?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
That's
None of that.
okay with being 51.
Yes.
You're like, yeah. Wow.
No. None of it. Yeah. None of it works. So here, hold on. Yeah.
Oh, Lisa and Deb both look cut. Yes, we're cut. Beachbody.
That's right. I should do a Tony Horton sketch or whatever for the next Sexy Liberal show.
Oh, you have to go to who's the guy? The Beast.
The Beast.
Watch the Beast.
Yeah.
He's funny.
Oh, Beachbody. Yeah. I've done everything. But the very least, I've done like P90X. I've done Insanity.
Yep.
I've done
I did too.
dozens of kinds of dietary things. I've not done keto per se, but
No, I don't do
that always seemed weird to me. But it's not. I mean, sure, it works for some people. I have a guy who does keto stuff who follows my stream. This guy Gonzo, and for if people doing that, I'm sure it works for them, and I think it's fantastic. It's just something I haven't done yet or haven't tried. I wouldn't rule it out. But doing OMAD, it's really hard. Like, I just have to crowbar everything into one meal. So when
do you work out? Like on an empty stomach?
Yes, I work out fasted. Yeah, it's better.
I used to do that when I ran a lot. I never ate before I ran, and everyone was always saying, "Eat something before you run," and I'm like, I can't.
But running's different. Running creates a need for carbohydrates. That's why it depends on what kind of running you're doing. If you're doing sprints, it's different. If you're doing long distance jogging or running, then it's a carbohydrate heavy activity because you're storing up for a long activity. It's a different thing altogether. I don't do that. One of my favorite workouts at home right now is the Creed boxing game on my PlayStation VR. I'm not kidding.
Wow.
I am a sweaty mess when I finish that. It's because it's shadow boxing and it's a game, and you forget after a while because you're just standing there just in the middle of your living room, and then by the end of it you're like, why am I so sore the next morning? All I was doing was playing a game.
He doesn't want to know what I do for my work.
I drink a bunch of eggs, and then I'm like,
what are you doing? Lisa rides a Schwinn bike.
Right.
A 1962 Schwinn stationary bike. Okay.
She has a 1962 Schwinn stationary bike.
Oh no. No. Talk about lowering your sperm count. Yeah, for ladies. That's what I need to bounce my prostate off a stationary bike for a year and a half at my age. That's a great idea. If it doesn't swell naturally, we can cause it artificially through damage. That's great. Why don't I just punch myself in the taint 100 times a day? Why don't I just go there?
That could be something.
Second time to check. Let's check on this guy.
Okay, Siri.
Starting to pop up a little bit. So this is the thing with quiches. Let me show this. Hold on. Let me check. Calm down, Siri. I'm checking. Hold on. So this is one of those things where grab a little fork right here, and
Okay.
as you check in on this regularly, and by the way, the pie is basically done at this point. But see this thing? I'm just going to pop little holes in that.
Holes in his quiche.
Yeah, to
Okay.
make sure that it stays, because you want it basically, it's starting to get firm around this end. It has to be firm but slightly jiggly in the center, which is, I'm sure there's a, I like my women like I like my quiche joke, but in there somewhere, but the,
That slightly jiggly is a technical.
yeah. So ever so slightly jiggly is a great way to, judge your quiche. Anyway, right here's the peach pie. Peach pie is looking pretty solid. I mean, that's
looking good.
That's looking pretty good.
Good.
We're just gonna set that guy down, let it cool, because that's plenty.
Well, are you gonna eat that tonight? Like stuff it all in? Are you gonna eat the peach pie tonight?
Well, I'll make this for the family. I'll eat the peach pie tomorrow. Probably I can eat like half of it with my meal if I want. So yeah, and I weigh 165 pounds, fully clothed, soaking wet.
Okay.
I'm 5'9". That's a good range, huh?
Yeah. That's a true confession. It's right here, out here in the open.
No, that's a good number. It's a good for me. I always had a hard time gaining physical weight. Like putting on muscle mass was always really hard for me. So it's partly why I sought out so many odd, additions to my diet. To try and figure out. I did have a girlfriend in the 90s that I dated, Kim, who I owe for being able to finally crest over 130 pounds because I was bouncing at the bottom of 127 pounds all the time, and I could never get over. If I ate 4 pounds of food, I'd still weigh less than 130 pounds. I don't know how that worked.
Kim, if you're out there, closure from House Party.
You what? Pass that on.
She said, Kim, if you're out there, that's closure from House Party.
It totally is. Yeah. No, we have closure. We're good. So, but she, I was doing like shakes all the time to try and like bulk up. I was like, I need to put on some muscle and I just can't. Like, I'm just skinny. And she goes, eat some food. She was like, eat some actual food. Like, because I would graze, and then my meal, I would try to augment it, because I wouldn't eat that much, with a shake or something like that. But the sugar in it, oftentimes, my metabolism would just kick in, burn the sugar, shred everything else, and I wouldn't absorb any of the nutrients. So, so eventually she was like, eat some fucking food. And so ultimately that was the turn, and I started cooking more. And the funny thing was, she's a pastry chef. So she made desserts all the time.
Eat some.
Yeah.
Eat something.
But that wasn't the kind of weight I was trying to put on. I was trying to, and if you want to stop eating sugar, date a pastry chef, because they'll make so much stuff that the smell of it after a while, you're like, ugh, And even they'll bite something for the chewiness of it. They're like wine tasters, never finish a glass of wine in their lives, just
I bake all the time. I never eat it.
Yeah. It's like, you're like Mr. Frost. There's for those of you who don't know, one of my favorite Jeff Goldblum films of all time is a movie called Mr. Frost, where he plays a serial killer, and who may also be Satan. And Kathy Baker is in it. She's his shrink. It's fabulous. And he doesn't eat because he's not human. So when the detective shows up, he's making a baked Alaska, and and it's perfect. And he's like, "Would you like some?" And he's like, "It's a little early in the day for me." And he goes, and then he takes a picture of it with a Polaroid camera. And
remember Polaroid?
Yeah, that's how old the movie is. And he scrapes it up into the trash. And then he takes the Polaroid and puts it on a wall with dozens of other pictures of food. And it's this weird little character affectation.
That's creepy.
One of the best lines ever, where the cop comes to see him, and he finds him in the yard. They go in, they're sitting down, he goes, "Good coffee and conversation." And the detective goes, We arrested 2 car thieves, and they said they tried to steal your Aston Martin, and they decided against it. And he goes, didn't like the model? And he goes, no, they said they found a body in it. And he goes, oh, yeah, the body, yeah. I was just finishing burying it when you walked up. And the detective goes, that's exactly the answer I expected, kind of laughing off. And he goes, what, do you think I'm joking? And it's such a great, and then all of a sudden the cop, who's been kind of like, okay, this is probably these kids are bullshitting me, I've got to talk to this guy, just realizes, oh shit, I'm way out in the middle of the woods in this guy's farm with a guy who was just burying a dead body, and I'm a British cop. I don't even have a gun. It's like,
bummer, dude.
well, if that's the case, then I'll be back tomorrow with a warrant. And he goes, that would seem to be the proper thing. And he just gets up and is like, ugh. It's so good. It's such a good omen-y kind of movie, So, yeah.
Well, I now have it on my list. Thank you.
It's beautiful. You can't find it anywhere. You have to watch it on YouTube. Somebody posted it on YouTube.
Oh, really?
That's where I've watched it. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Good to know.
And I adore that movie. I've watched it dozens of times. I mean, I like Goldblum's affectations. I think all of us have loved him since Jurassic Park, and my kid loves Jurassic Park so much and loved dinosaurs and all that, as young boys who are rhinoceri like he is often do. And I used to, delight him by going, I'll tell you what the problem with your little experiment here. It didn't take any discipline to attain it. You saw what other people did, and when you package it, now you sell it. Now you want to sell it. That whole bit, the can would just fall apart. The Jeff Goldblum. So that
Nice.
Someone's making. Oh, I want to make pierogi. Who said that?
Ooh, pierogi.
Connie.
Pierogi.
I love pierogi.
I always thought
We
pierogi
have-
sounded like a gangster's name.
We have not made
Oh,
pierogi
Richard's
yet.
in there. Patreons assemble.
make
And
them.
Cosmic Rose is in there. And okay, now I can see the chat.
Deborah,
Connie,
put
and
our
look at all
banner
these fun people. Kelly Bon Vivant, Ça va bien, and Cancer Blind, and Kylie. Look at this. Look at this good Jim. How are you? And Joe. He's a big,
Everybody.
lovely group of people in here.
Yeah.
Following me about. So, yeah. This is starting.
If anybody wants to buy us a cup of coffee,
Yeah.
you can over at coffee.com.
Oh, is that, you do coffee.com?
We do.
Yeah.
I do the Patreon thing. Finally talked Steph into doing it. You know how long it took me to talk Stephanie Miller into doing Patreon? And now it's one of their
I was
key...
wondering why it took her so long.
I don't either, because I was the one pushing her in that direction. One of the reasons I got on Patreon and why I started trying to develop it, beyond the fact that it's nice that my show can pay for itself and so I don't have to argue with my agent that I'm wasting my time. So he recognizes that it's in and of itself, it's its own thing. So I don't have to have that argument with him. And it's, and if you're doing effort, getting paid for it is not wrong, and people want to support it. Awesome. Right. That's good. Exactly. But also, it was hard for me to go tell her or others that could use it and didn't have another outlet or needed it, that it worked if I hadn't started doing it. So I doubled down on my effort so that I could go to my artist friends who have a hard time and go, look, I had a hard time with the idea of selling the show and doing that stuff because I would do it for free too. You feel bad as an artist a lot of time trying to convince people to help you out or reach out. And so I feel like until I had done it, and until I reach a level of success with it, it's hard for me to argue you should try it, right? But I reached the point, I had 6 patrons last year, and now I have 326 or so. And these are people, and then, and when I do, when I was doing live shows, they all get to come to my live shows for free and bring a guest. By the time they've done it, I've shown up once in their town. It pays for, oftentimes, if they've been a patron for months, if not years. Yeah. It works itself out. It's actually a good deal long term, but it also can benefit I've grown my show. I've been able to buy equipment, all these things. And Steph has this huge infrastructure of stuff that I don't have. That's expensive, and employees, and it's a tough thing to.
She's in her basement, and it's a whole, setup down.
Exactly. Yeah. So but I couldn't talk her into it when I had 6 patrons, because how do you how do you go, you should give it a try. It's a lot of effort, but I have 6 people buying me coffee once a week. Right. And bless those people's hearts. They've been with me since the beginning, and I love them for that, and they get special gifts because of it. But I'm learning, for me as an artist, one of the reasons why I want success in what I do, what drives me to be a success, is the inspirational part for other people. Because I come from a one-road town in Peaks Mill. I didn't go to Hollywood High like all the cast of Friends did. I didn't grow up around anybody. I didn't have anybody in the industry. As a matter of fact, most of the people in my life were like, I don't know what you're doing that for. So if I can do it, and weather the 90s, which I call the Sisyphus years, just every day rolling the rock up the hill and watch it roll back down. And just my whole family thought I probably would find a better career as a heroin user. And so they were all worried about me all the time. But if I can make it through that 10-year/11-year window, doing stand-up when I was 15 to not breaking until I was 30, I turned 30 3 months after I got Talk Soup. And I did that for a year and then did Queer as Folk. And so my career was really launched in 99, 2000, after I'd been at it since 1985. I've been professionally working.
You were an overnight success.
Huh?
You were an overnight success.
Yeah, a 15-year overnight success, right. But if I can, in any of these situations, it's partly why I do music, not just because I love it, and not just because, but all the people I encounter are like, I'd love to do that, but I can't. And so it drives me to be a success at it, because if I fail at it to some degree, it puts one more rock on the scale in their life of, that's hard. So these are all driving forces to me. Like, if I want to convince one of my stand-up friends that they can have a career on YouTube where they might not be ready to tour yet, or that their podcast won't take off, or blah, blah, blah. I hear all that from everybody, that if I can do it, I could go, look, it's possible, okay? I haven't even, I'm not going all in and I've reached a level of success with it. If you go all in, you could double or triple what I've done, and what I've done is substantial. So, and my career arc is, my arc is, I want to be, the fame arc that I want to peak at, the zenith, is when I'm 80 years old. Because my goal is to be,
aiming for 80.
Right. My goal is to be Burgess Meredith or Hume Cronin. Honestly, those are or Alan Arkin. People who you really think of as old when their career, or Anthony Hopkins, even in the dramatic sense, that the height of what they delivered was because of a life of experience that they bring to their work.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I'm not impatient. So I get to be patient with the uncomfortable parts. So I can give that to other people, right? I can check and make sure this is starting to look good.
Check his quiche while he's talking.
I checked. It's looking good. It's looking good. It's gonna have to bake on top.
Life thing.
What's she saying? Tell me again. Translate.
Say it again.
This is turning out to be a philosophical life lesson thing with Hal Sparks. It's so great.
Yes, this is turning out to be a philosophical life lesson with Hal Sparks. This is awesome.
This is how. I mean, this is why cooking matters. It's why.
That's right.
It's what what you do with almost everything in your life, even the failures of them, is reflective of where you are. And if you pay attention to them, that's how you can get better at those things. And if you can, I think if I have one superpower, like everybody talks about, what's your one thing that may get you ahead more than anything else, is that I've never been afraid to be a white belt. That I've got 3 black belts and that I've studied in my life, and another martial art that I studied for 20 years plus that has no belts. But I've never been ashamed to start from scratch.
Yeah.
That I think a lot of people view that as something to be ashamed of. That if you have to start over, it's a reflection of failure as opposed to you're taking on a new challenge or a new thing.
Right.
And if you suck at it for a while, it's because you don't have some sort of innate talent for it. And that's not how anything worthwhile works at all. There are no innately talented virtuoso piano players. They're only ones that practice their ass off to an insane level. That's it.
That's right.
That there's no magic, and it is actually insulting to people with a lot of talent, especially in the music world where it requires a lot of practice, to go, oh my God, they're just so talented. They must have been born with it or whatever. And then you find out, well, at 8 years old, they started taking lessons because their parents are concert pianists. They had no television. They didn't do anything else. And they played piano for 6 years straight, doing nothing else. Well, of course, after 6 years straight.
That's how you get good.
Yeah, that's how it works. And you can start one of those things at any point in your life. You know, there are certainly physical limitations. I wouldn't take up professional football in your 60s, but that doesn't mean there's not an elder person's league of something that you couldn't be the best at in that regard if that's your love. And so to me, that's been the crucial part. I've never been afraid to start over. And
well, Richard Custer says his powers come from a radioactive spider.
Sure, if you want a shortcut. And to Richard Custer, I say, Patreons assemble and thwip. So yeah, but in all honesty, if we're going to share something of value, and if there's anything I pass on to my son and to those around me, is that there's nothing wrong with being new to something. You know, that doesn't mean you have a lack of talent. It means you have assumptions about other people's learning curve, and you have no respect for the effort they put in. If you have respect for the effort people put in, then the beginning is the same for everybody. It's
the beginning.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. When I was running marathons, I remember reading a lot of articles about people who were runners, and I could never get really fast. And so I would just read, Runner's World, and I realized they have to cover the same amount of ground. They just do it faster, but they still have the same issues.
That's right.
Like mile 18 is hard. I don't care if you're running it fast or slow.
Right.
It's hard. And you just learn from other people that just because they have different, a different acumen for the same thing that you're doing, it doesn't mean that they don't share the same issues and have the same trajectories, just at a different pace.
That's right. Now,
the same for writing. You can't
to add
you have
the little part that I was talking about,
right?
Where we.
Anyone who thinks you don't have to start at the beginning doesn't want to be an engineer.
Right. I've seen. My dad's an architect. So my dad's an architect. So this is where I'm going to sprinkle some cheese across the top, like that. Let that
cheese sprinkle. Well, here, and maybe this is the time where I interject this.
Sure.
That generally we don't watch somebody cook the whole thing. they just post
That's
the
because
picture
most
at
of
the
your guests are weak. But look at this thing.
Wow!
Look how fluffy and delicious that looks. With a little crust around it. There you go. Now I'm just going to put this back in for a couple of seconds, like for 3 or 4 minutes, and it will melt the cheese and kind of brown it on top. And then you let it sit for 20 minutes, and which is a crucial part. It won't be that fluffy the whole time.
Right.
And then
settle, as we say.
Yes.
Simmer down.
And then I'll
settle down.
And then I'll tell you the secret to a boiled egg. You want to know the secret to a hard boiled egg?
Cooking secrets
While
with
you're at it,
Hal.
it's all eggs all the time here. Why not? 12 minutes exactly.
Okay.
Start with boiling water. A lot of people put it in cold water and boil it up and then time it from there and whatever. You don't know what your pan does, so start with boiling water. Nobody knows what the same, if you have a different pan than I do, it'll screw the whole pooch. So 12 minutes exactly. Time it. The minute you drop it in, 12 minutes. Go, Siri, set an alarm for 12 minutes. As soon as that happens, take the eggs out and put them in a bowl of ice water.
Okay.
Have a bowl of ice water sitting next to it when it's done.
Just pour your egg.
Yeah. Take your boiled eggs and put them in there. It's 6 minutes for a soft boiled egg, 12 minutes for a hard boiled egg.
Okay.
And then put them in.
Secret of eggs.
Put them in, yes. I put them in a bowl of ice water. Dip them in ice water. Just have them for a second. It'll stop them from cooking so the yolk doesn't go green. Because you ever had a hard-boiled egg and the edge of it is the yellow is kind of green? That's what that's from. It's because it continues cooking while it's sitting because it's so hot. So you take it out, put it in ice water.
Okay.
And then run it under ice water as you peel it, and it'll take the egg off, the shell off easier. Just tap, tap, tap.
Nice.
Perfect.
This is the secret life of eggs.
Yeah. Eggs. There's a like I'm sure there's a Spanish phrase that means like eggs are life or something, you know. But
we say food is love.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. So these are kind of crucial, and like little.
Do you think it matters what size your egg is? I don't think it does, Jim.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, large eggs because it's after 10 minutes they're already hardened and sort of enough. It's just a matter of the right consistency. So there's like a 6, 8, 10, 12, 14-minute egg boiling debate or whatever. But if you start with boiling water, no matter what your pan is, whatever your thing is, and they need to be an inch below water, you 12 minutes will do it. Time it at 12 minutes and put it in ice water.
Okay.
12 minutes, ice water, and then you run it under cold water while you take the shell off, and it'll be perfect every time.
Thank you.
All right. We have learned eggs upside down and backwards tonight, people.
This has been so educational and meaningful at the same time.
So yeah, hold on. I can see the chat sometimes. It's just I don't know.
Educational and meaningful all at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to leave you now.
Yes.
with
my quiche.
The sun's going down.
Take it out of the thing.
Yes, I know. I can see you're getting darker, Lisa.
The sun's going down. There it is. There's. Oh, it smells so beautiful, and the nice little crust around the side of it, or whatever. It's going to be tasty. This is going to be breakfast tomorrow.
You did it.
I'll make this for everybody. I'll put it in the fridge, and then I'll warm it up in an oven a little bit before breakfast, and we'll have it for breakfast tomorrow.
Fantastic.
That is awesome. We are so grateful
to
have
you,
spent 75 minutes.
Yeah, you don't get out early with me. You don't. No, nobody gets less time. No. I'm not a short timer like these in and out prison wannabes.
Not like that Bob Seska or Dana Goldberg. They were in and out.
No, I'm the Morgan Freeman. I'm a lifer. Now my friend Andy makes eggs in the morning. And one thing I learned from him: if you're gonna crawl through shit, you're gonna need a good breakfast.
Will you be sure and send us a picture of your quiche?
Absolutely. I will post that, and I will post the recipe itself, like what's in there on my Twitter, and I will also post the thing about the eggs, like the hard-boiled egg, and I'll put that in there, and the avocado too, just for the heck of it, as a reminder, or whatever. And then I'll tag your show in the bottom of it. So you guys,
we are really grateful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, anytime you want to come back and make pancakes, we're all in.
Anytime, Hal.
Oh, I got pancakes. Oh, we do pancakes. My pancakes are like restaurant quality pancakes. Like they look like you could use them in a commercial. My pancakes.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Food styling.
Remember when we used to make commercials?
Oh yeah, I remember those things. I bet you I could do them here. Hello, pancake companies. Kodiak Cakes. Need somebody to do an ad for you? Somebody muscly who makes pancakes? What do you think? I can do the Terry Crews. Wow,
look at that.
Wow.
That came from drinking eggs, people.
That's right.
Drink your eggs.
This is what eggs can do.
Yes. So appreciate you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
It was
and
great.
I look forward to doing it again. Yeah.
Here.
Bye.
I'm gonna
play the outro. Do you have an outro? I'll just dance.
We have credit.
Do you guys do you have dinosaurs?
Wow. Hal Sparks, everybody. He's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah. Make sure you check him out. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Good job.
Crazy.
Excellent. Bye, everybody.
Oh my
Bye.
Oh my God. Can he hear me now? Probably.
I don't